Hey everybody, Conscious Medium Brandon Ross, and we're here to talk about the June report. Thanks so much for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe and get ready for the back end of this channel, having all sorts of fun such as meditations, classes, and more. So I hope you like and subscribe and carry along here. And we do something a little bit different here. As being more than a medium, I love to actually combine astrology as well as the tarot. So we're going to take a look at each one of the signs here. Hope you follow along here on the journey. And as we take a look at June 2022, we've got some really cool stuff coming up. Hey everybody, welcome back, and let's talk a little bit about the astrology report for June 2022. We have Mercury going direct on the 3rd, only to be trifled with Saturn going in retrograde on the 4th. Now, when you have this type of handoff, you are talking about communication, and then you're talking about stability and structure. Saturn always talks about being the stability of society and motherhood and all of that other good stuff, where you have Mercury kind of coming correct and going, okay, well, we've done our planning and here you go. This has been a great time for those of you that are doing a shakeup at home. This is a great time for you that are doing a shakeup with your professional or business life. This is a good time for you to really kind of grow and expand. So what a great time. We, of course, have the full moon in Sagittarius this month. That happens on the 14th. We're going to talk about how this is going to affect the fire signs as opposed to, say, the earth signs, and how we're going to really kind of get through this early kind of summer Gemini into Cancerian time here, and it's really kind of interesting. So very cool. So let's get started. Let's not much ado about nothing here. Everybody, welcome back. Taurus, you are up next. And listen, before I talk about Taurus, I want to talk about over here, over there. I want to talk about the art and science of tarot. It's a 6-week class coming up. Go ahead and click and subscribe to the page, but then also join our class in our community. We actually have a lot of fun. So Taurus, here we go. We talked a little bit about how things are going to affect you one way or the other when it comes to the astrology cycle. But I've got to tell you, when Mercury goes into Gemini, you're going to be a little bit kind of like shaken. So you just had this Mercury retrograde. It's coming back into Gemini. The 3rd of the month it goes direct, and then we go into Saturn retrograde the day after. This is a little bit of a monkey pants for you. This is monkey pants month. That's what I'm going to call it for you there, Taurus, right? It's not a bad month, but your Venus also enters Gemini. So you're kind of like a little discombobulated a little bit, right? You've just got discombobulation everywhere, right? Now, the Scorpio stuff that happened like last month kind of like punched you in the gut a little bit. But now you're kind of coming into time, you're like, all right, what's going on? Can I get some help? And then you're like, can I get an amen? And then nobody says anything. That's kind of what it feels like right now, Taurus, right? Take a deep breath. Let's take a look at the mind, the body, the spirit. By the way, those of you that like my Merkaba table, go ahead and tell your friends about it. It is a one of a kind. Click like and subscribe. So into the mind portion of this, we have the Justice card. There's an equilibrium here. You're pulling in on Libra energy. And then you have the 6 of Wands. You're kind of celebrating coming out of these, Scorpio, your detriment. You're coming out of your detriment and realizing like you've really got it together. Like you're like, yeah, I did this. It came out on top. I did the work, bitches. That's what you're saying. So let's take a look at the body. Oh gosh, you're practically perfect in every way. You're gorgeous, Taurus, right? You're hot pants. So listen, you're pretty fantastic. Let's see what goes on top of this. But this whole thing, you beat yourself up all the time. So we rule the 2nd house here, Taurus, right? And then we also are like, we're amazing. And then we go, yeah, well, I got this dimple pimple right here. I don't really like it too much, right? Listen, in the art and science of the tarot, I'm going to tell you that this card is leaving it out in the cold. The science part of it is going to give you the direct meanings. And guess what? Guess what? That's kind of what you're doing. Like you're kind of your own worst enemy when it comes to this. But you really are beautiful, Taurus, and you've got to kind of recognize it. So the art of it is when I'm talking about how much those two cards might work in tandem. That, it is perfect, but you're also driven to say, like, maybe I don't have enough. Maybe I need to be more. Not so much to get to the imposter syndrome, but believe you me, you've got to get practical with this, right? You've got nothing but pentacles. You have got your earth sign solid here. Now, over onto the spiritual side of it, we have got the Seven of Cups. Well, guess what, everybody? We've got plenty of options. I told you were good looking. But you kind of love playing the spiritual field, don't you? King of Cups sitting here. By the way, what is he floating on? Something out of Star Wars? Did Anakin just fall off? No, listen, the King of Cups comes up on here. The way I interpret this Seven of Cups and this King of Cups, I got to tell you, there's a blessing. There's a blessing here. It's the fact that you've kept your options open. So you've done a lot of learning. You've done a lot of work spiritually. You know, you recognize a lot of different paths, and now you're like, but this is kind of the one I'm going to start to really focus in on. A little bit of focus time here. Let's take a look at the Gilded Tarot around the horn. Of course, we're going to come back to the center square. Don't worry. And give this one more shuffle. Oh, the Emperor. You know, why wouldn't the Emperor come out? Taurus, why wouldn't we give you a little self-love here? So the Emperor comes out because you can pride yourself on doing the right thing. You've had the right process. Are you kidding me? I can't make this stuff up. We're going to double whammy this with some more justice. So you are really in balance with your mental process, with your mind, with how you're working. You're open as a receptor. You're experiencing here on Earth. You've had some challenges and you're doing the right thing. Taurus, I'm going to go ahead and applaud and clap right there. Now look at this. Now into the body. Whoo! Seven of Cups. Does that look familiar over here? Listen, repeated themes are something you got to pay attention to when you do spiritual work. The Seven of Cups with options. So you have the options. You really do, right? But I got to tell you, I'm going to go ahead and be here with this. Here's the 10 of Swords. By the way, these are self-inflicted wounds in my book. I know it sounds kind of crazy that you stab yourself in the back like that, but there it is. So maybe having too many options. Maybe this is just keeping, junk food in the house. Where you're like, I don't have to eat it. It's like, yeah, you also don't have to have it there. Because when you wake up 2 a.m., Taurus, you know you're hitting the fridge. You know you're going to heat up whatever you can. You know you figured out the way to turn off the beeper on the microwave so you can eat in the middle of the night. Am I wrong? I don't think so. But maybe if you didn't have the option, you're like, you know what? I'm just going to have another glass of water. I'm going to go to sleep. Your kidneys are like, I'm sorry, what's that? But here's what's happening for you here. You're realizing you're your own worst enemy. For every positive, there is a negative. It's just how we're built. Live and learn here, Taurus. All right, let's take a look at the spiritual side of it. Oh yeah, you're spearheading some stuff here. So you're in balance mentally. You're a little out of whack here physically, and then you're going to pour yourself into some spiritual work here. That's what this is. You've got options. You're going to find a new love. Maybe this is taking a new class, and the Hierophant comes out. Maybe this is a new way of life for you. Maybe this is you saying, you know what? I've never read that book by so-and-so, but now that I've read it, now I've got to read everything. Maybe this is I've never known this person, but now I'm going to take all their classes. That's kind of what's going on for you right here. Not a bad thing. Not a bad thing at all. All right, let's come back to center square here. Oh, the conflict going on here with you, Taurus. And by the way, part of the reason why you're going to see this, if you watch this trend over time, myself or any other readers, you will notice that here we are in June, which is a primarily Gemini into Cancerian month, right? So you've got conflict with these sidebar things. So going Taurus into Gemini, you're just going to have conflict because why do we have other signs and why do they have other attributes? Because they complement and exceed or, take over in other ways. It doesn't mean it's directly opposite, but you're still kind of in conflict here at the core in the center. Let's go on top of this, but you're really at the Nine of Cups. So a lot of mixed messages here, except for where you're at with your mind, right? So you got to stay strong in your mind. So the Nine of Cups is really about, having the abundance, sharing the abundance, being the abundance. So recognize that you've got to kind of quit being in conflict to this. Now, I think you're doing some of the work behind the scenes because here comes Mr. Practical, 3 of Pentacles sitting here. This is work behind the scene. This is you being able to do this. And then you've got the Page of Pentacles. This is a new way to kind of see or think of yourself. By the way, pay attention to all of the pentacles in this. pay attention to where the placements are in the pentacles, right? You're actually being called back into a practical sense for your centerpiece, right? So if you're feeling a conflict with your body, it's because you haven't been using the tools that you have, right? I'm totally off screen on that. That's totally bad television. But what a spread for you. What a spread to you. And Taurus, listen, serious kudos, man. Like, these eclipses were not kind to you. They just weren't. They just weren't. They really question your practicality. They really question what you were about. Scorpio energy coming in, which you're just like, really? Do I really need a Scorpio? You're like, can't you be somebody else's kid brother? It's just the way it works. It's the way the stars talk to each other, right? So let's take a look at what the soul has to say here. We are using the language of light cards. And light being, here you go. Listen, part of the reason why your mind is so in sync is, here you go. And by the way, manifesting for you. You've really got this, I mean, listen, you got 2 justice cards. You're beginning to reconcile your mind in terms of who you are and what you're about. You're beginning to recognize, I mean, here's a sign for you right here. You're a light being. Act like it. Act like you've been there, for crying out loud, right? All right, here we go. On to the body. How about a little focus? Come on, Taurus. Time to focus. Nice work. And then into the spirit. Oh, you're going to embrace the divine feminine. Look at this. So the feminine cards that you have here, they're actually somewhat plentiful. So you've got cups, which are naturally feminine. King of Cups, which is the feminine masculine. Then you have the masculine feminine with the Queen of Wands. And then, of course, you have the Hierophant, which should be neutral, but let's not check under the robe. The divine feminine is kind of like recognizing that you're recognizing. If I didn't know better, I would say you're going to be doing some work with women. That you're going to be doing things to, maybe you're going on a retreat. Maybe you're doing some drumming. Maybe you're doing some soul healing. Maybe you're doing some therapy work. But you're definitely getting in touch with your feminine presence. That's a key thing here. And I hope you guys kind of recognize it. Let's cap all of this off, and we're going to go with the soul family. You've got a bigger thing going on here, Taurus, right? You might feel, I actually think this is really related here to the mind and the soul and the light beings, because let's look at it. When you look at this spread, you begin to start to recognize that mentally you've really got it together, Taurus. Kudos. Good job by you. Physically, you just feel like you've really kind of been like all over the place. Maybe it's eating those crunch foods. Maybe it's getting out of your routine with workouts, whatever. And then spiritually, you're kind of getting pulled into this thing where it's like, okay, it's time for me to open up another chapter. I just don't know which way I want to go. And then at the core of all of this, you start out with this conflict card, but it's almost more internal conflict. Because when we get to the center square here, this really is about your personal value. And then you cover it with the 9 of Cups. Then you do the work behind the scenes, and then you come up with a new practical idea, and then it's your soul family. Guess what, everybody? It's going back to your roots. Taurus, I love your style. I know July will be better. But Taurus, June is a little bit of a pass-through month. Take it easy. Kick your feet back. Don't overdo it. When the full moon goes into Sagittarius, let it kind of have the fun-loving part. Let it bring out the fun-loving part of Taurus. Because I think you're going to get there a little bit better with that. Because mentally, you're reconciling. You've got to remember to be human sometimes too. Because all this spiritual work, the human physical side of it is at the top of this. That's why you're coming in with like the 9, with the 9 of Cups. Was it the 9 of Cups? No, it was the 9 of Pentacles. So sorry. Then the 5 of Pentacles. You got the goods. You got to focus in on the physical body. By the way, Spirit told us, focus. All right, Taurus, great job as always. I love it when you show up late to a party. I'm just kidding. But in the meantime, listen, remember to keep going. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I can't wait to see you guys in the art and science of tarot. See you soon. Take care.